And welcome to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, live and amplified, coming at you on a Tuesday. And you think, Jeff, the middle of the week, no, there's nothing going on. There's kind of a lull coming out of a case of the Mondays. But no, so much stuff going on, a lot that we need to get to. I'm still in Orange County. Jeff, you're still deep within the bounds of Menifee, but we're going to do the show live with Greg Holla back in the studio. We appreciate you joining us here on the Inland Sports Show, the flagship here on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Jeff, you just told me something pretty crazy. You have not talked to anyone today, like nobody.
I had a very, very boring day. I didn't really say a whole lot, so hopefully today I'll have a lot to say because it's a quiet day for me.
A quiet day for Jeff Gorham. You don't hear that very often.
No, I felt like I was, like I was a monk hanging out in a monastery, and I had no one to speak with. But now, yeah, I've done my reading. I have a state of zen, and I'm ready to talk some sports today.
Well, not too long ago, a young Pep Fernandez was running around wearing black socks with my high tops. I was sagging in my basketball shorts, and I was a huge fan of the Fab Five, the Michigan Fab Five. And I can still name them all: Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Jawan Howard, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson. I love the Fab Five. And now you were telling me that my boy, Jalen Rose, his grandma's talking smack on Sister Jean?
Yeah, Jalen Rose's grandmother was saying that it's all going to end Saturday, and had a little verbal jousting with Sister Jean, and we'll see how that works out for her.
What's up with that? Sister Jean. Everybody loves Sister Jean. We all fell in love with her. She's a viral star.
It's almost sacrilege to talk any kind of smack against Sister Jean, and I'll tell you what, if I am a betting man or if I'm hanging out in Vegas or I'm at the Final Four, there is no way in heck I'm going to bet against or vote against Loyola. I think it could be a bad news for anybody that does.
Oh, the good Lord's looking down on the Ramblers right now, and I love Michigan, but man, this run by Loyola has been absolutely incredible. And I know we've talked about this. I know some people are kind of bent out of shape that Sister Jean's kind of taking the spotlight away from this incredible run for this Loyola basketball team. But come on, what's not to love about Sister Jean? I doubt she's on Twitter. I doubt she even knows what social media is. It's not like she's out there trying to promote a brand or whatnot. She's just kind of been swept up in this whole March Madness Cinderella thing going on with Loyola, and she's become the poster girl for the whole movement, for the whole Loyola team, especially because the last time Loyola, actually the only time Loyola's won an NCAA title was in 1963, and she was there. I mean, she was at Loyola, so she has seen it all. And me personally, I like the whole thing. I think she's cute. I think it's fun. I think it's good for basketball. But there's other people out there saying, man, well, Loyola needs some credit. The coach needs a lot of credit. The players need a lot of credit for getting them to this point. But it's all been about Sister Jean.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you are Loyola and you want everything to be about Sister Jean because you want to keep that coach at Loyola in Chicago, because I'll tell you what, his name right now is probably the hottest commodity in college basketball, and he's not getting paid the amount of money that some of these big name guys are getting. Louisville filled their position. Their head coach is making $4 million a year. But I'll tell you what, Sister Jean is given the licensing rights to Loyola, so they're making money off of her, and she is going to, I assume that the program will give that coach a big raise so they can keep him in Chicago sometime to come.
Yeah, isn't that how it works? You find this one team in March Madness, and they put together this incredible run. Excuse me, whether to make it to the Final Four or the national championship game, but that's the hot name. In fact, like you said, the Xavier coach. He's going to Louisville now, and this coach at Loyola is going to be that hot ticket, that hot name out there this offseason. He could probably punch his ticket, no pun intended, to a lot of different places right now for the fact that what he's done at Loyola. Now, Loyola is a private school, so maybe they have some money, which always helps, right, to keep him around. But, yeah, he is going to be the hot ticket. He's probably going to have some big decisions to make because I would assume it gets tough because you're very loyal to Loyola. Ooh, that's kind of hard to say. Loyal to Loyola for what you were able to do there and all the excitement and the publicity you were able to bring to the school. But now for your own selfish reasons, you've kind of opened up a lot of different opportunities. Some new doors are probably opening for this coach to maybe go to a high-level Division I program. Not that Loyola is different, but if I asked you what conference Loyola plays in, I couldn't tell you right now. I know they play Valpo because I looked them up because they played UC Riverside. But beyond that, I don't know a lot about Loyola.
Yeah, well, they're part of the Missouri Valley Conference, and the coach is making $600,000 a year. He's the highest coach in that conference, but is that enough to keep him? Because I'll tell you what, if you have, he has a family, he's got two children, he's got a wife. Just a few years ago, he was coaching in the ABA and basically living out of his car. You've got to jump on the opportunities. And if that opportunity arises of a big school, because this domino effect, Xavier's opening, there's a lot of schools that are still going to open. He might land there and he might be able to take care of his family forever, for the rest of their lives, because he'll sign a big deal. It won't be a 1-year deal. It'll probably be a 5 or 6 year deal worth millions of dollars. How do you say no to that? Even though you've got a great thing going on at Loyola, it's still, most coaches want to make that jump. They want to have their name out there and they want to do the best they very much they can and make the most money.
You know what it reminds me of, Jeff? Remember Florida Gulf Coast when they had Andy Enfield, who's now at USC. Florida Gulf Coast had a great run at the NCAA tournament, and Andy Enfield became that hot name out there. And lo and behold, he ends up at USC. And I know USC did not make the tournament, but they still had a great season.
Yeah, they USC probably had the worst luck of anybody, finishing second in the regular season in the Pac-12, and then finishing that up with a second place finish in the conference tournament. Did not make the tournament. Arizona State finishes ninth and gets knocked out in the first round. They get in. UCLA gets in. It doesn't seem fair. Andy Enfield's a great coach. He's done a great job recruiting, but sometimes things just don't fall their way.
Hey, speaking of coaches, one of our local guys, his name's being tossed around, and for good reason because he's had a great run at Cal Baptist University at the Division II level. It's a dear friend of ours, Rick Croy, the head coach of the Lancers. And it's been brought to our attention that his name's being kicked around for the University of San Diego job. That's a Division I program, the Toreros. And Rick Croy, I mean, now that CBU's going to Division I, he's in a sweet spot. But at the same time, you're telling me San Diego's got money. And, I don't know how much CBU's willing to spend to keep him around, but if the University of San Diego's got a lot of money, that's going to be hard to pass up, especially that's a West Coast Conference school. That's a good conference for college basketball.
Well, you think of it this way. Coach Croy has ties to the WCC. He was a assistant coach at St. Mary's under Coach Bennett, so he's been in that conference. The University of San Diego has plenty of money to spend. They've got a great arena, similar to what Cal Baptist has. They have the Jenny Craig Arena, a great, great arena in a very nice part of San Diego. They have plenty of money to spend. My big thing is, could Coach Croy parlay this into getting an extension or even a raise at Cal Baptist? Because right now he is the hottest coach. He's taken a Division II program and taken it to the pinnacle of success right before they go Division I. He's sold a lot of seats because we like Coach Croy. We know that everybody wants to play for him. He can recruit. He's a dynamic personality, and he fills seats. So if you're Cal Baptist, you can't let him go. Maybe this will get him an extension, maybe a raise to keep him at Cal Baptist.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out. What was the website? It was Coaching Changes. Is that correct?
It actually was under, I think it's Coach's Dirt, which is a big website on Twitter and the internet, and they're usually pretty spot on when it comes to coaches.
And they had Coach Croy as a finalist for the
Yeah,
job.
Coach Croy is the first guy mentioned.
But there's what another like 3, 4 names out
There
there as
was there
well.
was yeah, there was I think believe there was 5 names on that list, but Coach Croy was the first name mentioned. And among the other names were the one of the current assistants and the interim coach that took over for the coach that got fired at the end of the season. So Coach Croy's name is out there, and like I said, he has ties to the WCC. And I think anybody, and I would hate to lose him at Cal Baptist because he's such a good coach, but the WCC and San Diego would be great to have a guy like him in their program.
Well, with all things being equal, let's say the money at Cal Baptist and the money at the University of San Diego were equal. So if those were equal, my thing would be like, why don't you stay at Cal Baptist? You've already built so much goodwill in the community. Everybody loves Rick Croy. But the other thing, too, Jeff, is at the current state of the WCC, you've got Gonzaga, you've got St. Mary's, you've got some other good programs in there as well. But it's going to be tough to win the conference and get to the NCAA tournament in the WCC. On the other hand, though, if you look at the WAC, I feel like Cal Baptist can go in immediately and be on par with Grand Canyon and Seattle and Utah Valley, some of those other schools that are at the top of the WAC. I think if his end goal was, man, I want to lead a team to the NCAA tournament, I think you'd have an easier path staying in the WAC as opposed to going to the WCC where you're going to run into Gonzaga, who's now a national powerhouse. They're not a dark horse, Jeff. I hate to break it to you. And also St. Mary's College. I think the path is easier through the WAC. That's if everything was equal. If the money was equal and you just said, hey, the money's the same in San Diego as it is at Cal Baptist, what are you going to pick? I think that's an easy choice. I think it's CBU all the way.
Well, you would like to think that, but I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here.
Do it.
Cal Baptist has 4 years before they are playoff eligible. What happens if Gonzaga and BYU both leave the WCC? That leaves the open door for virtually anybody in that conference to take that spot Gonzaga and BYU have held because they've been the best 2 teams in the program. You have Lorenzo Romar, goes back to Pepperdine, a very successful coach at Washington and was an associate head coach at Arizona. That conference is on the rise. And I'll tell you what, it would not be a bad spot for Rick Croy to land because he would be able to get right into the playoff situation next year if he took the job.
You're right. I mean but that's a lot of ifs. That's a lot of hypotheticals. If Gonzaga moves, if obviously St. Mary's probably going to stay put. I just think that we saw between the two of us, we saw several WAC schools, and I feel like CBU could compete with them, right away. I know through this Division I transition process, you're not postseason eligible, but they'll still be on par. They can still, I guess the best they could do is finish in first place during the regular season, although you couldn't go to the playoffs, but you could finish in first place during the regular season. But the WAC schools, as it stands right now compared to the WCC is just going to be tough because you got that juggernaut with Gonzaga. And then St. Mary's, off and on, they've had some really good teams, and that's 2 really good top programs on the West Coast that you'd have to go through to even have a chance to even get a sniff of the NCAA tournament. But, hey, man, San Diego would be a great gig, although the cost of living is a lot higher down there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it would probably take a huge raise to lure Coach Croy away from Cal Baptist. And honestly, I don't see him leaving. I think it's probably a nice to be mentioned as a head coach at University of San Diego, a great school. There's only 2 schools in San Diego. It's University of San Diego and San Diego State. And if you can upheld, you could do better than San Diego State. You could really parlay that job into something very, very big.
Well, the other big news that we're tracking today, of course, it's the Freeway Series. The Dodgers and the Halos getting together for one more tonight before the regular season begins. The Halos won last night, 4-1. Matt Shoemaker, who we saw pitched for the Inland Empire 66ers not too long ago on a rehab assignment. Shoemaker went 4 innings, 5 strikeouts. He looked absolutely great. And, Jeff, we're going to talk more about the Halos with our good friend Trent Rush. He's coming up in our next segment. Trent Rush, a broadcaster on the Angels Radio Network. He does the Angels Halos recap. And we'll talk to him about Shoemaker, about Shohei Ohtani. There's a lot of question marks whether he should be at the big league level when the season begins. So there's a lot to unpack with the Halos here because they've got a lot of talent. I think a lot of people are picking them to be in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to win the West for the simple fact they have Houston with them in the American League West, but they look like a wild card team at the very least.
Well, they do. And, their biggest question is, we know the guys on the field play can hit. Their biggest question is going to be their pitching. Is Ohtani going to be that guy? Is he going to be part of that rotation? That is the key factor because you can put him out there and he could just absolutely get destroyed. But what are you going to do? You're going to take the pride of what you just, you had a big press conference. You had all the bells and whistles, the parades for this guy, and you sent him down to the minor leagues. What is that going to, what does that say? Does that say it's a failure or is it just a progression?
Well, we'll talk to Trent Rush about it. The Halos, what will they look like when they open the season on the road at the Oakland A's coming up on Thursday? The show is brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change will be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. Make sure you check them out off of Alessandro Boulevard. That's Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all of your sporting gear needs and Letterman's jackets, and they'll even bling it out so you look real fancy. That's kensportinggoods.com in Horsetown, USA, Norco, California. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Twitter. Keep up with all those Boost Performance athletes doing some big things here in the Inland Empire, whether it's youth or high school, college, even guys going on to the pros and all the sports from lacrosse to football and everything else in between. That's Boost Performance Training, boosttrainingsystems.com. And finally, Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road, where you can buy, trade, and finance all in the same spot. Get that sweet new ride in your life so you can roll around like a real cool guy around the IE, the 951 and the 909. No pressure, no headaches. Easy, smooth shopping experience at Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more Major League Baseball, and our dear, dear friend Trent Rush will join us live. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Focus on the customer here. Believe believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. I'm Pep Fernandez. That's Jeff Gorham. Greg Holla holding it down deep in the studio in Riverside. Jeff, I kind of miss Greg, you know?
I really miss Greg. I don't get to hear all the cool little funny stuff he gets to do because, it's a different setup for us, but his use of the sounds and funny music, and I miss it. I'm really sad. I'm going to be honest. And I miss looking into his beautiful eyes.
You know what? There was like a movie drop or a song. I can't remember what it was, and I kept telling myself I need to remind Greg to get that ready because we're gonna use it. I can't remember what it was now, and it wasn't one of the usuals. It wasn't Gandalf. It wasn't Anchorman saying I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. It wasn't. Oh, what was it? Oh man, I'm gonna be. You know when you think about something so hard, and the more you think about it, the less you're gonna remember. It's like when you're later that night, you're eating dinner, or you're sweeping the floor, or whatever. You're like, oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, see, I do that with my kid's name. I don't ever know my kid's name. So I'll introduce, my oldest, and it'll be wrong, and then I'll introduce my middle, and that's wrong. So yeah, I do that all the time.
There was something. I'm sure it'll come to me when I stop thinking about it. I'll hit up Greg Holla. But we appreciate everyone joining us here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. What a time to be alive, man. We got the NCAA tournament coming to a head this weekend. We got the Final Four on Saturday, then the national championship game next Monday. We've got baseball opening day coming up on Thursday, which, I want to ask Trent about because I'm more traditional, Jeff, and opening day was always on a Monday. I know ESPN would do a deal where they'd have like one Sunday night game, and then everybody else would play the next day. But now everybody's opening on a Thursday, and I know it's probably because they want to get a 4-game series in, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to open the year. But I'm old school, man. I remember having the national championship for the basketball tournament and opening day all on the same day. So if you're a sports fan, like it was heaven. You watch baseball all day, and that night you watch the championship game of March Madness.
Yeah, and I honestly think that it's come down to, the Final Four of the national championship is so big, nationwide. I think Major League Baseball kind of had to take a step back and reevaluate and say, hey, we want to really get a jump on things. And really, you can't do it against that national championship. It's just so big. It's almost like the Super Bowl. So, yeah, Major League Baseball, I think, kind of went off tradition. I used to love watching the Cubs every year, the first game of the season. So I'd stay home and watch the game, listen to Harry Carey.
Yeah, it's had to have been a calculated move because even though a lot of opening day games are actually during the day, like especially if on the East Coast, they'll play early in the morning or even like a 4:00 start, which would be 1:00 here on the West Coast. Because nobody, like you said, nobody wants to go up against the big giant of the national championship game. So we can ask Trent about the Thursday start and the Halos opening up their season on the road up in Oakland. So that'll be fun. We'll see what the Halos got right out of the gate because I know a lot of people, the A's might not have a lot of big names, but they look like a team that might be surprising some people. So right now, let's go ahead and bring Trent Rush into the mix live on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Trent, Jeff and I were just talking about the fact that opening day is Thursday this year. In a couple days, which I'm traditional. I always wake up like on a Monday. I know there's always that like Sunday night game, but Monday was the big baseball day. What's your take on Thursday opening day around Major League Baseball?
Hey, I'm fine with it because that means we don't have to wait till Monday, even though that's going to be when the Angels opener is. And hey, I'm having a good time. I'm at Dodger Stadium right now, standing in the upper deck right behind home plate, taking a look at one of the most glorious sights in all of sports. It's just awesome seeing the red of the Angels and the blue of the Dodgers, and the final game of this Freeway Series before the season officially gets going later this week, 2 days away. This is awesome.
Now, are you looking forward to having a Dodger dog?
You know what? So because I do the post-game show and I got to do it from our studio back in Anaheim tonight, I'm not going to be able to stay till the 6th inning, but that's usually when the Dodger dogs make their way into the press room. So I'm thinking I may have to just run upstairs and get one on my way out the door. And if the guys back at the station are nice to me, then maybe I'll bring back some for them too.
We got Trent Rush, Angels broadcaster on KLAA, and Trent, when you look at this Halos team, I know there's a lot of promise, a lot of high expectations for this team. Also for the Dodgers, I've got friends on both sides of the fence for the Dodgers and the Halos, and they're all predicting a freeway series. I know the Houston Astros and several other teams like the Yankees will have something to say about it, but everyone's saying this could be the year that we see an all-Southern California World Series. I know it's early, but what do you think?
Well, I think probably 2014 was the last time both teams were really good. And that year, I think the Angels were a little bit better than the Dodgers. And I think the expectation coming into this season is that the Dodgers are going to be a little bit better than the Angels. Of course, with the Dodgers playing in Game 7 of the World Series last year, they're going to be very good once again. And not having Justin Turner to start the year, that's going to hurt them, though. I don't know how much that's ultimately going to mean come playoff time. I think that'd be absolutely phenomenal. It'd be so good for our game, especially out here on the West Coast. I'm telling you guys, the buzz around these two teams is absolutely insane. Yesterday in our meeting with Angels manager Mike Scioscia, I'm not kidding. I promise to goodness, I'm not exaggerating here. At least 40 media members were huddled around Mike Scioscia down in the dugout. There might have been 50. I didn't count them. That's about 4 or 5 times what there normally would be for a regular season game in Anaheim. I mean, it's always a little bit more when it's the Dodgers and the Angels, of course, with Scioscia's background here with the Dodgers. But with the Ohtani factor into all this and the Japanese media following him, I mean, it was astounding the amount of coverage that was at this game yesterday. It's actually kind of cool. It makes the work for me a little tougher, but I think it's good for our sport.
Well, Trent, the big question that everyone's asking is about Shohei Ohtani. Will he start at the major league level? If anyone would know, I guess it would be you if the Angels have set their opening day roster, and is Ohtani on it?
The opening day roster is not set. We're going to hear probably in about an hour from now who is going to start the 3rd and 4th games of the season for the Angels. Everybody is anticipating hearing Shohei Ohtani's name mentioned for game 3 or 4 of the season. That's definitely what I expect to hear. I cannot foresee any scenario in which Shohei Ohtani is not on the opening day roster. He's very much a part of the Angels' plans. The fact that Nick Tropiano and Parker Bridwell have been told they're going to begin the year in AAA indicates on another level to me that Shohei Ohtani is going to be factored into the rotation to start the season. So, yeah, it's not official yet, but if you want to read tea leaves, this one's pretty clear. Ohtani's going to be their opening day.
Well, baseball fans are just so quick to rush to judgment. I mean, it's only spring training. The guy just got here, but they all of a sudden, want to make all these, hey, this guy, he belongs in the minors. He's not ready. He's this and he's not that. I mean, that's not really fair, would you say, just based on a small sample size of spring training?
Totally agree with you, Pep, and it is a really small sample size. And one thing Mike Scioscia was talking about yesterday was for Shohei, it's really just about finding his timing, and that can take some time for guys. Look, Mike Trout didn't get a hit in his first, 10, 12 at-bats this spring. Albert Pujols took a while to get going. Shohei Ohtani traditionally says, even in Japan, he struggled usually to start the season, and then as the season goes on, he gets better and better as the season goes. So I'm hoping that that's going to be the case here with the Angels. That's, what the Angels kind of expect in a lot of ways. And for him, it's just finding timing. He looked good yesterday, had a hit going the other way, had a hard line out that he pulled over to first. It was caught, but 105 miles per hour off the bat. That's pretty darn good. And the hitting is an area that's probably further from being MLB ready than the pitching. I think his stuff is just straight up nasty. He's going to be a dominant pitcher before he's a dominant hitter, but he has shown the potential to be both. Let's just all give him a little bit of time. I mean, he's 23 years old. I think we can pump the brakes a little bit.
Trent, the Japanese game for pitchers is a lot different than it is here in the United States. They don't throw inside back in Japan. Yeah. He's going to have to learn to do these kind of things because it's a different mental side of the game as a pitcher. Has that been addressed at all with him?
Well, I don't know what the conversations are like. I know the Angels are going to do their due diligence, and it's a really solid coaching staff, and these guys know what they're doing, and they're paying close attention to all these kind of things. And even with those considerations, and even with the slow start that he's had here in spring, all 29 other teams wish that they had the Angels situation to have Shohei Ohtani, even with the spring training numbers being what they are. And, if you noticed last night, Rich Hill's fastball missed on the outer half. It was an outside fastball that Shohei was able to take the other way. So pitchers still got to be careful. You can try to fire it inside. If you want to bring inside heat all day long, maybe it's going to take some time for Ohtani to be able to adjust to that. But if you want to leave a fastball over the outer half, he's going to hit it just about every time because he is a really great hitter. And, I don't want to buy too much into what you see in batting practice and what he does in the cage, but what he does in the cage is beyond impressive. And it just kind of shows you that maybe though he hasn't been able to quite apply it yet in game scenarios, that potential is there. And we're just waiting for that to emerge, and I think it will.
We're talking with Trent Rush, Angels broadcaster. And Trent, before we let you go, Shoemaker, he looked pretty impressive against the Dodgers a night ago. He looks great, and who's going to be the ace of this staff, or do you think it's going to be one of those rotations by committee where each of these guys do things pretty well on their own?
Well, Garrett Richards has had a really great spring, and to me, he has emerged as that guy that's the ace of the staff. He is going to be the Angels' opening day starter, and to me, he has the most potential to be somebody that's going to be in the Cy Young conversation. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be this year, but if anybody on this staff has the chance to get into that talk, Garrett Richards is that guy. You're still wanting to see Tyler Skaggs take some steps. You're hoping Andrew Heaney can get back to healthy again. He had that left elbow inflammation, though did play catch yesterday. He threw a bullpen. Actually, I think he's throwing a bullpen right now. So that's what Andrew Heaney is up to. And while he won't be ready for opening day, he'll be ready to go real soon. Angels counting on both those lefties. And then you look at, Matt Shoemaker, a huge piece to have his best outing of the spring come last night. Great time to do it, peaking at the right time, heading into the season. And JC Ramirez is somebody that I thought for the first 4 months of the season last year was the Angels' best starting pitcher. So those guys are X factors. Parker Bridwell won 10 games, the rookie last year. He's going to begin the year in AAA. Nick Tropiano 2 years ago before the Tommy John, really impressed at the big league level. He's going to start in AAA. The Angels finally have some starting pitching options and organizational depth for the first time in a long time with this staff. And I'm pretty excited about that. I know the pitching has to be better this year than it's been the past couple of years if the Angels are going to have the kind of success that you were alluding to earlier in our conversation. But I think the Angels have the pieces to do it and the different choices that they have not had years prior due to injuries.
All right, Trent, we're going to let you run. Still plenty of time for you to get a pregame Dodger dog and also a postgame Dodger dog if you want. You can double up.
Oh, hey, I like that. Hey, that's a Jeff suggestion.
It's a real Jeff move, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
But you just said one before and one after. How about two before and two after?
Well, you got to take a road dog too, right? I got to take one on the way out. Yeah, I got to have something when I'm sitting in that traffic cruising down the 5 back to Anaheim. So yeah, that may be the call tonight.
I'll tell you what, I would take 5 or 6 just because I'm a large guy.
Really big
guy.
We
got to fill you up. That's good. No, hey, by the way, I don't know what they do, but the Dodger dog, it truly is better than every other hot dog. Don't tell Angels people that I said that, but it's insane. I look forward to this every time I'm here. It's my favorite part of coming to Dodger Stadium, hands down, and I know I'm not alone.
Yeah, that's like contraband. You have to sneak that back into your Angel offices. I don't have a Dodger dog. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. But if you do, you can send me a tweet, #Angels Recap for the show tonight after the game. So check that out.
Thank you, Trent.
Thanks, guys.
You're the best.
Thanks, Trent.
That was Trent Rush from KLAA, Angels broadcaster, the host of Angels Recap. And the Halos playing the Dodgers one more time in the Freeway Series. And then it's on to Oakland to open up the regular season. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility.
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the Crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Jeff, how many hot dogs do you think Trent Rush is grabbing right now for the road?
Well,
After the game, of course.
If he was smart enough, an even dozen would be nice to take back.
You just, it's like you said, you double up. You get some right now, and then you grab a couple for the road later after the game.
If you buy a dozen of them, that'll probably cost you about $400.
$400?
Yeah, because those darn Dodger dogs are really expensive, and if you end up spending, I mean, heck, the ridiculous amount of money you spend at a ball game is nutty nowadays. But he was talking about that the Dodger dogs are better than any other dogs in the major leagues. Do you know why that is?
I don't know, Jeff. Do you know the secret
because
ingredient?
They put a secret ingredient in there that's an addictive chemical that makes you crave it like animals.
They're really good.
They're fantastic. They're giant, and they're just delicious, delectable, and delightful. The 3 Ds.
You know what? We should have asked Trent Rush, what's the delicacy of the Big A, of the Angels. They got to have something there. Because, like, if you go to this, like a San Francisco Giants game, because I went to a lot of San Francisco Giants games when I was younger, and the big thing that everybody loved up there was the garlic fries. Everybody loved garlic fries. So if you went to a Giants game, there was one thing you had to get, and that was garlic fries. Everybody loved them. So if you go to a Dodger game, naturally you have to get a Dodger dog. And if you go to an Angels game, I just wonder what's the big thing that the Angels have that you have to get when you go to an Angels game. I've heard the Seattle Mariners are big on sushi. So I don't know. Do you know, Jeff? I know you go to some Angels games sometimes. Like what's the main course? What's the delicacy of the Big A? What would you guess?
Okay, the big thing I always get is the helmet full of nachos, because I'm a nachos kind of guy. I love the nachos. Can't go wrong there. But my staple, though, has always been going to Angel games, is getting those malts. You know the malts, the frozen malts?
Yes.
The wooden spoon? That is my staple. If I get the wooden spoon and the malt, I'm good to go for the rest of the day.
The wooden spoon and the malt. You know what? You know how I don't like birds? Another one of my things, Jeff, is this is going to sound weird. I don't like to grab bare wood with my hands. Like, it makes my teeth curl right now just thinking about it. Like, those little wooden sticks you get with the ice cream that you're talking about?
Yes, those are the best.
I can't grab. Like, my teeth are cringing. I can't grab that. Like, if it's a piece of wood that's been finished, like if it's nice and smooth, like I that's fine. But like that raw wood, like a popsicle stick or those the little spoons. Oh my gosh.
So you can't grab, like, you couldn't work on the docks and mess with pallets and any of those things, could you?
Well, see, a pallet I could. It's something about that material of like a popsicle stick, or like when you go to the doctor's and he says say and he puts the wooden the tongue stick in your mouth. Like, it's something about that material of wood, and I don't even know exactly what it is. But like a wooden baseball bat or anything like that, like I'm fine, like no big deal. But something about that material of the specifically like that, like you said, the chocolate malt ball thing. Oh man, seriously, my teeth are like curling up just thinking about it.
So you have an aversion to birds and an aversion to balsa wood. You're the only person I know that has an aversion to balsa wood. You're a little neurotic, you know that, right?
Yeah, I'm a little George Costanza. I am. I got some weird tendencies, and of course they're all coming out here on the show now that everyone in the IE is getting to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm not telling you. The only thing I don't like, my big aversion, is eggs. Anything that has to do with eggs, I'm out.
Oh, that's right.
I run.
You don't eat eggs.
No, it's a weird. I just don't like the texture. I don't like any of it.
You don't like eating a membrane.
Yeah, it's gross. I'm like biting into chicks. It's just weird.
It's just like that.
Yeah, so I won't do it. That's my big aversion is eggs. That's it, though. Nothing else.
You'll eat everything else.
Yeah, of course.
Big thanks again to Trent Rush for joining us live on the show, getting us set for the Freeway Series tonight at Dodger Stadium. One more to go. And then the regular season will begin for everybody coming up on Thursday. The Halos will open up on the road at the Oakland A's. The Dodgers, they're going to open up at home against the Giants on Thursday. That's going to be a 4:08 p.m. first pitch. Of course, Clayton Kershaw will be the starting pitcher for the Dodgers, the 8th year in a row that Kershaw will head to the mound. He'll get the ball for the opening day start for the Dodgers. And we were supposed to have this great pitching matchup in the opener, as Madison Bumgarner was supposed to start for the Giants. He's their big ace. The Mad Bum cometh, but he's not going to cometh anymore because Mad Bum has a broken hand. They say he's going to be out a couple months, in fact, maybe close to the All-Star break. So if you were looking for this big-time showdown between starting pitchers in the National League, between Kershaw and Mad Bum, it's not going to happen. Madison Bumgarner on the shelf for a couple months with a broken bone in his hand. So, Jeff, I know people are excited when the Giants and the Dodgers, anytime they get together, it's a big rivalry, Giants and Dodgers. But the Giants have really taken a little bit of a step back. You know, I got some Giants fans out there, and I know they're very, very loyal. They stick with their team, but they just haven't been what they've been accustomed to. They won several World Series early. What was it, 2010, 2012, and 2014, I want to say, when they won the World Series. They were winning like every other year, like the even years, the Giants. But, man, they really took a deep step back last year.
They did. And you know what, Baumgartner, he was out last year. He had that freak accident last year. So he hasn't been playing much baseball. We don't know what he's like because he hasn't played in so long. But the hated ones, they always seem to rebuild. They've got really a great front office, and they will make sure that they're back in the slew of things here coming this season, I'm sure.
Yeah, the big offseason acquisition for them, of course, was Andrew McCutchen, the former Pittsburgh Pirates center fielder, he's a Gold Glove center fielder. He's a strong bat at the plate as well. So it's not like the Giants don't have anybody. Of course, Buster Posey, he's a stud catcher. He's one of the all-time greats. So they've got some guys. I just don't think they have a lot of pitching. They had a great run with pitchers with big-time Timmy Jim. They had Tim Lincecum, Matt Cain. They had some really strong starting pitching, and Madison Bumgarner was one of those guys. And now they're sending some guy to the mound at Dodger Stadium on Thursday. Seriously, I follow baseball. Like, I'm not a baseball nut. I don't dig through every single box score of every single game, but I always look at all the scores. I always look at the standings. The Giants have a guy named, I think his name's Tyler Block, starting on opening day. I'm like, oh man, this is not going to go well for the Giants. Block against one of the greatest of all time in Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, Clayton Kershaw, you can arguably say, is the best pitcher of all time. There's another great one, Sandy Koufax, a guy that wore blue. But I'll tell you what, when you go against Kershaw on your opening day and you've never heard of the guy, it's got to be tough for that young guy Block to go against possibly the best of all time.
But that's how it's going to go down at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers-Giants. That's a 4:08 first pitch, 4:08 Pacific time. So it's kind of a weird start. So if you're a Dodger fan out there, don't miss that one. And you can check out the Dodgers opening the season at home, your defending National League champions. In fact, it'll be their first game back there outside of the Freeway Series since the World Series from last year, when their season came to an unfortunate end against the Houston Astros. And Jeff, we got to wrap this up in a second, but do you remember last year they were saying that the Dodgers were going to easily win Game 7 at home? Most people weren't even giving Houston a chance, and it was the Astros winning Game 7. In fact, was that the night we were doing a UCR coaches show? Was that Game 7?
It was Game 7. In fact, everybody came to see us at the coaches show at Lake Alice, but apparently there was something else going on. It was Game 7, and everybody diverted their attention away from us for a few minutes to watch that blowout last year.
Yeah, go figure. A Game 7 out there at Lake Alice. Yeah, we were out there. Everyone was wearing blue. Everyone was going nuts and screaming and cheering. And we're like, man, people are fired up for UCR. And don't get me wrong, they are fired up for the Highlanders. Just happened to be a Game 7 going on, too. And a lot of Dodger fans were packing up Lake Alice, which, Jeff, we'll be back at Lake Alice come next Wednesday. That's our next UC Riverside Coaches Show coming up with our good friends at Riverside TV. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to jump over to the NFL. Sam Darnold is going #1 to the Cleveland Browns, at least according to a former head coach at UCLA. We're going to jump into this. It's kind of interesting. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
So how you guys doing? My name is Coach Ray Bass. We're here at the Boost Performance Center today, and here with the one and only Pep Fernandez, and we're going to go over a real basic vertical jump. All right, we're going to teach you guys the technique and its progression. This is a great drill for really any sports. Really emphasizes pure power production through the hips, and power is really important for basically any type of athlete, whether you're a football player, track, soccer, basketball. You know, we all want to be powerful, strong athletes. So we're going to go over that today. All right, so first things first, I'm going to have Jacob go ahead and stand with his feet underneath his hips. So you want to have your toes pointed forward. You want your feet to be about hip width, all right? He's going to have his shoulders flexed, all right, in front of his body. So his arms up in front. Okay, now, the most important part here is what's called a counter movement. And what that is I'm going to throw my shoulders back into extension, all right? I'm going to flex my hips, all right? So the shoulders are going to be flexed, and the hips are going to, the shoulders are going to be extended, and the hips are going to be flexed, all right? And then we follow that up with shoulder flexion and hip extension. It's got to be really fast, all right? So right now, I'm just going to show you the first phase of that. So Jacob, I want you to drop your hips into flexion. I want you to throw your arms back into extension when I say go. Ready? Go. Right there. So come up. That's the most important movement there. So after that, it's the landing, all right? So we want to get as high as we can. As I go up, I want to extend through my hips, through my knees, I want my toes pointed up. And when we land, I'm going to land back into that hip flexion, arms extended, and I want to stick the landing, all right? So we're going to go over it now. So now we're going to actually jump here, Jacob. I want to see that counter movement. Go ahead and walk a little bit closer to the hurdle here. We're going to extend on the way up. As we elevate, extend through the hips and the knees, stick the landing, throw the arms into extension. Here we go. Ready? On you.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We're brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change, Ken Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass, and Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. Again, I'm live from Orange County. Jeff is live from Menifee. Greg Holla's back in the studio inside our luxurious Inland Sports studio at Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. A big shout out to the fine folks of Orange County who have welcomed us with open arms. They've welcomed us into their homes and their hearts, the Inland Sports Show. And, Jeff, I know your son Connor's down here in the OC, and it's good to have the Inland Sports Show received so well by the fine folks of Orange County.
Did they throw a ticker tape parade for you or anything like that?
Yeah, they should have. You know, I was listening to Fox Sports IE 1350 AM the entire way from the Inland Empire to Orange County as I crossed that border. And don't get me wrong, I'm IE to the bone. That's where my heart is. But the fine people of Orange County, all the golfers and the surfers and the investment bankers, they've all reached out and said thank you for what you're doing at Fox Sports IE. So shout out to them.
Oh, nice. Right. You're looking at boats. I'm looking at guys outside on my working on my concrete around my pool and getting it stained.
Well, you're watching guys work.
I'm watching guys work while I talk sports.
But that's always kind of
listening to music.
I have a hard time with that when, like, let's say I'm sitting at my computer and I'm working, but let's say there's somebody like, oh, I'm fixing the roof, or I'm putting some new electrical in the house, and you're standing there like you're sitting there on your computer looking like a ding-a-ling, and they're up there like doing more manly work with their hands, and their hands are dirty, and they got boots on, and their jeans are all dirty like they're out there. Kind of like back to my dairy farm days. When I was a dairy farmer, man, out there milking those cows right and left, providing milk for everyone in California. Like I'd go home and I'd feel good because my hands were dirty and I had junk under my fingernails and I had dirty jeans and big boots on. And now I just kind of sit at a computer and I talk sports with you.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm looking out the window and these guys aren't. I mean, they're sweating like heck. And if you're a housewife, in the neighborhood and you picture like workers and they're shirtless, they're sweaty, and you'd think all the women would be looking at these guys. And I'll be honest with you, they're not wearing shirts, but they're built like I am. So I don't think any of the housewives, I think the cats are screaming, the dogs are barking, because these guys are not lookers, but they're not wearing shirts, and they got bandanas on, and they look like they could be riding some big hogs on the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, they look like motorbiker guys. Those guys that just ride I'm going to drive out to Laughlin on my hog. I'm going to go shirtless and wear my helmet. That's the kind of guys that are fixing my deck right now.
Well, you really know how to paint that picture, don't you?
I do. I'm telling you, every housewife in America is picturing the guys in my backyard shirtless and really fat.
Well, today we're talking NFL. The NFL draft is coming up, and the big question is, who will the Cleveland Browns select with that number 1 overall pick? And it looks kind of like it's going to be Sam Darnold, the quarterback out of USC, going number 1 to Cleveland. By all accounts, you look at all those mock draft boards, they all love Sam Darnold, and what's not to love? This guy looks like a quarterback. He sounds like a leader. He had a couple great seasons at USC. I know against Ohio State in that bowl game, they kind of took a dump, but he had another great year. Jeff, do you get caught up in those mock draft boards? Do you follow those? Because every day they're like, oh, we updated our mock draft board. So every single day they're changing the draft based on rumors and things they hear. Do you get swept up in all that nonsense?
I get swept up to a certain point just because this is a good year for quarterbacks, and I'm kind of curious to see where they're gonna align. There's a couple guys I really, really like. I like Josh Allen. I think he's a really good quarterback. And of course, Baker Mayfield's my all-time favorite. But, you're going to play the smart pick. Like you said, the Browns need to go Darnold, because Darnold is that guy, can lead your your program. We're talking about a program that's won one game in 2 years. And this guy, Darnold, is a leader. He's not going to make any huge mistakes. He's going to be a good guy in the club, in the locker room. He's going to study the playbook, and he's got some skills and talent.
No, he does. And, he physically, I mean, he looks the part. He looks like a big pocket passer. And then to hear some of the things he said, not only at the Combine, but also the Pro Day, and he just sounds like a leader. You want your quarterbacks to kind of look a certain way and sound a certain way, and you need him to be the leader. I mean, it's not a cliche, and it's not a stereotype to say that the quarterback is the most important position on the field. I mean, some other people even make a case that quarterbacks are the most important position in all of sports. I mean, can you think of someone else who's more important game in and game out? I know pitchers are important, but they're only out there every 5 days. Maybe a catcher in baseball. I don't know. Can you think of any other position that directly affects the game like a quarterback can?
Yes.
Who?
A bowler. A bowler, a golfer. Let's see. No, you really can't. The quarterback really is the kind of the figurehead, the CEO of your company, of your team. And there really isn't in basketball. It's 5 guys and there's 5 great athletes. Baseball, like you said, maybe a starting pitcher, a dominant starting pitcher. But how many dominant starting pitchers are there? There's only a handful of guys.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Hey, I'm sorry. I was watching. So I've got the golf course behind me. I'm watching some of these people golf, and this poor lady, she was hitting the ball kind of like up the side of this hill. So I'm thinking, man, her previous shot must have not went exactly where she wanted, because if she is way off the beaten path up this hill for her next shot, that one must have got a little out of the way. So I was trying to get a shot of her on the live stream right now, which you can see on the Inland Sports Channel. But so Sam Darnold, it looks like he's going to be the number 1 pick to the Cleveland Browns. And the former head coach at UCLA, because we all know Chip Kelly's now the head coach of the Bruins, but the coach right before him, Jim Mora Jr., Jim Mora was the head coach at UCLA, so he had a chance to see Sam Darnold up close and personal across the field at USC. So he went on the NFL Network, and this is what Jim Mora said. Basically, in a nutshell, he thinks that Sam Darnold is a better fit for the Cleveland Browns at number 1 than his former quarterback, Josh Rosen. And he went on to say that he thinks Josh Rosen's a better fit for the Jets or the Giants, just somewhere in New York. But it kind of struck me in a way, and I'm not trying to take it out of context here, because he does say Sam Darnold's a better fit for Cleveland. He didn't say Sam Darnold's a better quarterback than Josh Rosen. He said Sam Darnold's a better fit for Cleveland. So I don't want to take it out of context, but here's the quote from Jim Mora. Quote, "Because of fit, I would take Sam Darnold if I were the Cleveland Browns. I think he has that blue-collar, gritty attitude. I think his teammates will love him. I think the city will love him. He says all the right things. He'll come in and represent well. I think he kind of represents what Cleveland is. And then if I was one of the New York teams, I'd take Josh Rosen like that. I think they're both going to be great pros." So when I read that quote, that's not out of context. That's exactly what Jim Morris said, the entire quote. Man, he had a lot of praise for Sam Darnold and really not much to say about his own quarterback, Josh Rosen. How do you feel about that, Jeff?
Well, that's been the biggest chip on Rosen is his quality to lead a program. He didn't have a lot of friends at UCLA. A lot of the players that played with him, they weren't real complimentary of him. And if you're going to lead a program, a $1 billion program, you've got to be that leader. You've got to have guys in the locker room behind you. Maybe he'll learn it. Maybe he's figured it out playing, at UCLA. Maybe he's learned his shortcomings. But honestly, I think he's probably going to be the 4th quarterback chosen. I think he's going to go to Denver, to be honest with you, with that 5th pick.
Yeah, he might. If Sam Darnold goes number 1 like we all think, I got to be honest, Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Allen, the quarterback out of Wyoming, it's kind of like a toss-up to me. Like, I don't know which one will go before the other. Now, Baker Mayfield, people have questioned the way he handles his business on the field. Maybe he's not the tallest guy out there as well, so he's not a huge Josh Allen, like, country gravy big kind of guy from the mountains. But I don't know. I think beyond Sam Darnold, it's kind of a toss-up between those next three quarterbacks. I think it's kind of hard to say. If you were going to say the second quarterback taken after Sam Darnold, who do you think? What does your gut tell you right now?
Well, just listening to, I think that Josh Allen's going to go to the Jets. I honestly don't think the Giants are going to draft a quarterback. I think you and I have talked, and I've said over there, I think they're going to go offensive line. I think they're going to go with Bradley Chubb of NC State. I mean, he's the best offensive lineman in the draft. And they really need, they're counting on Eli Manning to be that guy for the next, 3 to 4 more years. So why not just get a good, solid backup that can, a Rodney Peete type player that, played in the league for years, that if Eli Manning goes down, you have a guy that can really kind of fill that spot. We saw it this year with the Philadelphia Eagles. They had that backup. I don't see the Giants drafting. I think that Josh Allen will go to the New York Jets. I think he's probably, people are saying that he is the best, has the best arm in the draft. But I think Baker Mayfield's my favorite, and I think he goes down to the Miami Dolphins at the 4th pick.
The only thing that bothers me is, let's say the Giants decide to keep Eli Manning around for several more years, and I think that's where I disagree with you. I think Eli Manning's done. Maybe he holds on one more year, but that's it. But remember they pulled him out last year, and they snapped his consecutive starts streak. It's like, dude, why did you do that? Like, if he was your guy going forward, if Eli Manning was still your guy, why did you yank him out? Were you trying to tank? Did you actually want to see who was it, Geno Smith or whatever wacky backup quarterback you had? Did you really want to see if they had any moxie, any bravado to be that starting quarterback for a big franchise like the New York Giants? That's what bothers me. They yanked him out of there. They had that consecutive streaks starts snapped. I was like, come on, dude. This guy led you to 2 Super Bowls. You can't do him like that.
Yeah, I just think, I've seen him. I've always been a Manning fan. I do think they need to shore up that offensive line, that defense. They need some work there. I think they used him as a scapegoat last year, but you got to give him a shot. Maybe I do think though you don't draft a quarterback if you're going to, as you publicly have said, we're going to stick with Eli Manning.
All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 a.m. We'll talk more NFL, the latest on Ndamukong Suh, the newest member of the Los Angeles Rams, and Johnny Manziel trying to break back into the NFL. He was at yet another pro day, and he was looking good. He will play professional football. Will it be in the NFL? We'll talk about that as well. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 a.m.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car, whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Great holla, holding it down in the studio, back deep in the Riv. Hashtag the Riv raised me. And a shout out to Jeff. I got to give a quick shout out. This guy's the man, Raider Mike out of San Bernardino. So Mike goes to a church that I know. It's like another church from our church. And he came up to me the other day and he said, Pep, is that Pep as in the guy on Fox Sports Radio? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, the Inland Sports Show. That's me. And he's like, no. And I was like, yeah, it's totally me. And he's like, so you were the guy in Hawaii doing the show? And I'm like, yes, that was me, Raider Mike. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, hashtag the Riv raised me. And he's like, I love when you say that. And I was like, oh, I'll give you a shout out, man. So for the biggest Raider fan I know outside of Greg Holla, shout out to Raider Mike in San Bernardino. We got some fans out there, but he didn't believe we were the same guy, the Pep on the radio, and cool, quiet Pep at church. Same guy, Jeff.
Well, I only know two Peps.
Just,
I do.
Just
I know
two
Peps in my life. Just two. I know you, and then I know Pep and his boys. They fix my tire every single time I get a flat.
Which you have lots of flats. Like, how do you always get flat tires?
Because I live in a community that is still growing. So there's houses being built all around us, and apparently, when you live in a new housing area, lots of nails, lots of screws everywhere. And my wife, she just drives over anything. So I think it's most of the time it's her. I'm always fixing tires.
You know what? Now that we're talking about, as we're really digging deep on all of our personalities here and all the little things that make us tick. So now we know that, I worked on a dairy. I hate birds. I hate that like raw wood feeling that you feel on a popsicle stick. Another thing that really bothers me is when I'm driving, for whatever reason, I'm always looking for nuts and bolts and screws and nails, like in parking spots, in the road. So when I see my wife like not even paying attention, I'm like, whoa, do you see that huge bolt in the road? I don't want to buy new tires. That's one of my pet peeves, is when I see that stuff in the road. Because if it's sunny, Jeff, you can see it. It reflects off the sun. Like you can see the metallic on the ground.
Hey, Pep.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
I don't know, Jeff. See, now that you're getting to know me, like I don't think you're really going to like me very much. I'm pretty weird.
You're just a strange bird. Like you have these weird quirks.
Yeah, I'm really weird.
I don't eat eggs, and I'm kind of loud. But you don't like birds. You're strange. You're a strange guy. I'm going to bring you a balsa wood bird that is filled with screws. How about that? I'll do that. And whatever else is weird with you.
Well, the next time I'm in your car, if you're driving along and I see a bolt or a screw or a nail or anything like that, even a big staple, I'm going to scream at you and be like, Jeff, get out of the way.
Okay, I will pull over and you can go out and get it.
It just drives me nuts. I don't know what I always look when I park my car. I look. I'm like, oh, is there any nuts or bolts around? Any nails? I'll get if I have to, I get on my hands and knees. I will look under the car. Oh, there's a big piece of glass. We don't want that. Oh, look at that big staple. That's like a big like staple you use for building a house. I got to get that out of there.
What the heck? You are strange.
Yeah,
you are too weird.
That's how I pass the time. Yeah, that's me. I'm no fun.
Well,
I'm no fun.
Hey, you are no fun at all. Hey, what's the deal? We were talking Johnny Manziel had another pro day. How many pro days does this guy get?
I guess he's just bumping around saying, hey, can you guys let me be part of your pro day? So we saw him at the University of San Diego, right, which I thought was kind of random. I couldn't come up with a tie between Johnny Football and the University of San Diego Toreros. Now, this one makes sense because he went back to his alma mater, Texas A&M. He was at the Aggies pro day today, throwing again. And he came out of Texas A&M, what was it, 5 years ago, Jeff? 4 years ago?
He was the Heisman Trophy winner 5 years ago. It's been 4 years really since he's played the game of football. He only had 2 years with the Browns, and we haven't seen much of him at all, other than his antics off the field and on TMZ.
Well, he had his pro day again, another one with Texas A&M today, and I mean it looks like he's pretty darn serious about getting back to the NFL. He had a golden opportunity. It was one of those cases where, if he could do it all over again, you got to strike while the iron is hot, because he was the biggest name in college football. Do you remember coming out of Texas A&M, Jeff? There wasn't another guy in that draft that I wanted to see play in the NFL more than Johnny Manziel. He was just exciting. He was brash. We didn't know he had so many personal issues off the field, substance abuse issues. We didn't know all that stuff. We just knew he was kind of this cocky, over-the-top football player. And I'm glad it sounds like he did deal with all those things, that he's sober. He's now married. And I'm excited again. I would love to see Tim Tebow back in the NFL. I want to see Johnny Manziel in the NFL. I think it's that feeling of the unknown. Like, how good can this guy be? And I love a good story of redemption. If he really cleaned up his act, I say more power to him. And I think he's doing it the right way. It's not like he's saying, I need all these NFL teams to come to my mansion and woo me and tell me why I should go play for them. No, dude, he's putting himself out there at all these pro days. He said he'll play in the Canadian Football League. He'll go anywhere. He just loves the game, and he wants to get back out there.
When you think about it, he was so dynamic. And his last, he hasn't played football in over 800 days. He was a supernova in college football. We talk about Baker Mayfield. We talk about Sam Darnold. But no, he was a true rock star. Think about it. His last college football game, he toppled Alabama. Think about what it did to Texas A&M football. Everybody bought into it. There were Booster Club members. He paid for the upgrades, in College Station. He paid for the upgrades to the stadium because of his arm. He was the biggest thing in college football, and it's nice to see him making a comeback, because everybody, including myself, said, Johnny football's done. You see the pictures of him on TMZ hanging out in the clubs of, the pools of Las Vegas. He was down to like 160 pounds. He looked gaunt. He looked terrible. But now you see him, and he looks like, he said he's taking medications for his bipolar disease. He's not drinking. He seems to be leveled out. He's, like I say, he's married. Life is good for Johnny Manziel, and he's showing that he wants to play. He's traveling anywhere he can for people to watch him play.
When these quarterbacks get away from the game a little bit, and you don't know what they're about, and then they come back, there's again, it's almost like a big question mark. There's the unknown, and almost like Michael Vick. Michael Vick coming back, you're like, you know what? If he's really dealt with all his issues and he's a better man for it, I'm all for a second chance, and I want to see if he can still play. I feel like Johnny Manziel's kind of that same guy right now, and I know this is different circumstances. But even like when Brett Favre was making all those comebacks, I was like, man, Brett Favre, man, he's almost 40. Can he still play? Does he still want to play? Brett had his own issues, but not so much where he was out of the game for years, like Johnny Manziel or a Michael Vick, or even like a Tim Tebow in this case now, who's been out of football for a while. I think it's just the unknown. Can these guys come back and still play at a high level? And those are guys you like to cheer for if they've done it the right way. I'm all for it. And I would love to see Johnny Manziel out there. Even if he goes in as a second or third string quarterback, you know what? He's going to have to fight his way up the ladder and be that starting guy if he can still do it at that level. And I kind of think he can.
Well, he's saying the right things right now. He's only 25 years old. He's doing it the right way. It sounds like finally he's got his life back on track. I don't know if it's because he's lost money or what, but the guy can still sell jerseys. And if he's a good guy in the locker room, he could be that good second or even the backup or the second player, the third string quarterback. And he might be good for your program, and he might be good for any NFL team out there that knows, hey, Johnny Manziel can sell tickets, he can put butts in the seats, and he might get an opportunity someday to get back in the NFL.
That's kind of how I thought about Tim Tebow as well, especially when there was a lot of talk that he might go to the Jacksonville Jaguars because Jacksonville stunk at the time. Now they're good. The Jaguars stunk. nobody was coming to the games. But if you bring in Tim Tebow, who's a Florida guy, like from the state of Florida, that might be a reason to go out there and watch him. So I'm not saying there's an NFL franchise that's struggling, that's like going to use it as a publicity ploy just to bring in Johnny Manziel to sell seats. But on the same token, it doesn't hurt. You know, if you bring him in, people are gonna. It's not gonna be, a novelty act. Like if he can actually play, he will get a spot in the NFL, and naturally, organically, people are going to gravitate towards it. People are gonna, watch it on TV. They're gonna watch the games on television. They're gonna buy tickets to go see him. They're gonna show up at training camp. You're gonna get a ton of media, like video cameras are gonna be out there, television stations. There's going to be big-time radio shows like the Inland Sports Show talking about Johnny Manziel. It's a win-win, and again, I think it just goes back to he's doing it the right way. Like you said, Jeff, he's saying the right things. He's doing the right things. Again, if he was still out partying and hanging out in his multi-million-dollar mansion and telling these NFL teams to come to him and court him, woo him, tell these NFL teams have to chase him, no, that's not how you play the game. But no, he's doing it right, and that's why I think a lot of people are cheering him, are supporting him, and would love to see him getting another crack at professional football.
Well, the talent still has to be there. He's only 25 years old. And to think about this, we talked about this, I think, last week. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Is he not in the top 64 quarterbacks in the world? Even at 25 years old, 800 days removed from playing football, I still would like to think that he's one of the top 64 players in the world, and there should be a spot for Johnny Manziel if he's a healthy and happy Johnny Manziel.
Well, we hope so. We hope there's a spot for him. We know for sure, though, that there's a spot on the Rams for Ndamukong Suh. It only cost the Rams, what was it, $14 million? What a deal for Ndamukong Suh.
I'll tell you what, we talked yesterday about the new fearsome foursome. I mean, that's a really, really, of your fearsome foursome guys, 3 of the 4 are kind of ding-dongs, but just think of the upgrade that the Rams have put themselves in position. Great offense, and now they've got a fantastic defense. If they can stay on the field together and buy into the program, the Rams have a shot to be very, very good again.
You know what, Jeff? I was stewing about this. I know that your fearsome foursome includes Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, 2 defensive backs. But if you would even narrow it down to Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, the best defensive player in the NFL right now, I've got a name for those 2 guys. You want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
And I'm hoping it's going to stick. The gruesome twosome.
Hey, that's not bad.
And it's actually, you know what? I'm actually stealing it because I used to do a TV show, and there was this big-time high school football player. He went on to play linebacker at BYU. His name was Peter Welsh. And for whatever reason, when we were doing the TV show, they were calling myself and Peter, really great kid. In fact, I think he's a veterinarian now. They were calling us the gruesome twosome. So when I heard Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh were getting together, for whatever reason, I'm like, you know what? They'd be a perfect gruesome twosome.
Well, it sounds good, but if anybody who's listening, they might trademark that. You might want to go out tomorrow, in the morning and see if you can get that trademark. That's a pretty good name.
The gruesome twosome. It's probably already trademarked, and I don't want to know who trademarked that one because it might be a shady kind of adult company that we don't want to associate with. But yes, the Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald on the interior of a defensive line is going to cause a lot of headaches for a lot of different opposing teams. And the Rams look really, really good going into the next season. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, we'll talk about the new NFL catch rule, which to me sounds like the old NFL catch rule. And also, Jeff's favorite musical artist is really messing with the NFL. Did you hear about this, Jeff?
Michael Jackson?
No, Michael Jackson would be rolling in his grave if he heard about this. No, your other favorite musical artist.
I don't have any. Steve Miller Band.
No, your other one.
Lionel Richie.
No, your other one. We're going to talk about it because there's a singer out there that's really messing up a bunch of NFL teams. It's really making me mad. It's Jeff's guy. It's Jeff's boy. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
All right.
How you guys doing? I'm Coach Ray again. We're here at the Boost Performance Center with the one and only Pep Fernandez. So today's tip, I'm going to go over the shuttle run. So really, the shuttle run is a great drill to measure lateral speed, power, and change of direction. So we're going to go over that today, and it's a drill that can benefit really, again, any type of field sport, whether you're a basketball player, football, volleyball, soccer. You know, if you got to change directions, you got to be quick. Shuttle runs for you. Okay, so Jacob's going to demonstrate the shuttle run here. We're going to start off with the stance. So he's going to have his feet about hip width. Now, this is really important because a lot of times you get guys who will try to shift their stance. You got to split the line evenly, and you want to make sure your toes are forward. You want to make sure your feet are right underneath your hips, all right? So he's going to have his feet forward and underneath their hips. All right, now, when I say set, he's going to drop down very quickly. Whatever hand is down is the direction that you have to go. So he's going to go to his left first, so he's got to have his left hand down. Now, his right hand is going to be right here. All right, it's going to be right in front of his body. His elbow is going to be flexed. Hand's going to be right under his chin. All right. So when I say he's going to drop down really fast. All right, he's going to put his hand down, left hand down on top of the line, right hand at his underneath his chin. Ready, set. All right, relax. All right, so that's the stance there. We don't want to hold the stance any longer than about 3 seconds. All right. So we want to be in and out. All right, now let's talk about the first touch. Once he leaves, all right, his first movement, that timer is going to start. He's going to give me a nice lateral run coming out. So he's not going to turn his head and turn his body to run. He's going to lateral run coming out, and then we make our first touch. He's going to do what's called a wedge cut. It's a double foot cut, and he's going to touch right outside of his feet here. So he's going to touch the line with his left hands. He's going to do a wedge cut, a double foot cut. He's going to have a nice angle at the shins. He's going to touch right outside of the foot. So now I'm heading back in the direction I want to go. All right, that angle is really important. So we're going to nice wedge cut here, left hand touch. We'll wedge cut it here with the right, and then we'll sprint through for the finish. 5, 10, 5. Here we go. You ready, Jacob? So he's going to go on me. Set. Go. Take it back. Finish right in the middle. Good, right there. Now, typically, you want to finish with your head down. All right, you want to maintain that forward lean. There you have it. Shuttle run.
We focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the one and only. It's the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We appreciate you joining us here on a Tuesday. A lot of local stuff going on. Also national headlines. Now, Jeff's the big music guy. I'm not into music. I listen to a little bit of country. I saw the piano guys. They were really good. I know some Disney tunes, but Jeff, that's about it. You're the music guy. You like Michael Jackson. You like all the hip hop and stuff. You break dance. You do all that stuff.
I do. In fact, my biggest, what I'm listening to right now?
What are you listening to
It's
right
Moby.
now?
I'm listening to Moby. Moby.
I haven't heard Moby in forever.
Hey, anytime you can support a bald guy, you got to do it. So I'm going to support.
Go ahead. I'm just laughing at you.
But just think about it. If you look at Moby, he kind of, in the sense, I've had kids that go, "Hey, Moby," at my school. I go, "Hey, don't you ever call me Moby." But now that I've kind of embraced my baldness and my pudgy face and I'm very, very, a lot of skin.
But you don't look anything like Moby, though. You don't look anything like him.
I kind of do. If you just cut my head off and you look at my head, I got a Moby look.
Jeez.
It's either Moby or Butterbean. So, I'm glad nobody remembers Butterbean.
I remember Butterbean. Yeah, wasn't he a boxer or wrestler or something like that?
He was a boxer. He's been an MMA guy. He's been a wrestler. But think about it. I think Butterbean fought Mike Tyson. He fought some big name guys.
Yeah, didn't he try to fight Mike Tyson?
He did. He got knocked out really quick, but
he did.
I have become, I was once this really good athlete. I was fit. I had some muscle to me. I had a six-pack. I have now sloped down to be, I'm kind of the Butterbean or the George the Animal Steel or even kind of the Big Show. I got to get out of this rut. I got to get in shape. You watch, by summer, I'm going to have a fit body. I'm going to walk around in a Speedo, and nobody will be calling me Butterbean.
They'll be like, "Hey, look at Moby over there in the Speedo. Look at that guy."
Look at Moby in a six-pack. Oh, my gosh, he's really good looking.
Moby's really transformed his life.
I'm telling you. You know what I had for lunch today? I had peanuts, little cubes of cheese, and turkey. And it was in like 2-inch squares of all three. So it took me like 30 seconds to eat.
So you're starving. You are starving right now.
Well, the thing is I feel so sick because I am so hungry that it makes me not hungry. Does that make sense?
Your body's like detoxing right now.
Oh, it's detoxing. I'm getting rid of everything. When I'm sweating, it's like I'm sweating ragu.
It's really thick and, plasma.
Really thick. Yeah, you could. I mean, it's like oil coming out of me. But I'll tell you what, though, I'm thinning as we speak. I'm down. I would say I'm down to 275. I was 290, so I've lost about 15. I'm going to get down to 220 by summer.
You're just going to whittle away. You're going to be a real big Moby, but you'll still be Moby, but really fit.
Yeah, I'm going to be eating quinoa and bean sprouts and water. That's it.
Hey, the next time someone compares you to Moby, say, "Hey, you know what? I'm more like Stone Cold Steve Austin." That's who I'm like.
I am kind of like Steve Austin. I feel that's I'm the inner Steve Austin right now. I am outer Moby, outer Butterbean, but inner Steve Austin.
The Texas Rattlesnake. Well, you're listening to Moby there. I'm kind of surprised that you're not listening to Ed Sheeran right now because that's your guy. Ever since the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, passed, you said, "You know what? I got to pick a new favorite artist. I think I'm going to pick Ed Sheeran." I think that's how the conversation went, didn't it?
No, never.
No, it didn't?
I don't. No, in fact, the only thing I could say about Ed Sheeran is he's got really red hair. And he's really pasty. I think he's from England, isn't he? Is he an English guy?
I don't know. He is real pasty, though. Didn't he sing one of the songs to, like, The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or one of those?
I think because he was an extra in Game of Thrones. I do know that. But I will say this. The only thing do know about Ed Sheeran is the guy is covered in tattoos. Covered.
No.
Yes, completely covered. And my wife, the Smeddy Smedberg, thinks he's kind of cute.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
get it.
No, I don't. Well, I totally get it. We see her trend. She likes ugly guys.
Hey, yeah, I don't get it. Well, I'm starting to get it now when I look in the mirror in the mornings. But think about it. She likes, what's the guy from Friends?
Schwimmer, your boy Schwimmer.
David Schwimmer. She likes Jorge Fabregas, and now Ed Sheeran. I'm starting to think I might not be that good looking.
You know what? I think reality's setting in on Jeff Gorham right now.
I know, it's really disappointing because I always considered myself a good-looking dude, a solid-looking guy, but apparently not.
Well, your boy Ed Sheeran is messing with the NFL, and it's really bothering me because nobody messes with the NFL, especially pasty Ed Sheeran who sings songs for The Hobbit. So Ed Sheeran, he's got this big world tour coming, Jeff. Did you already get your tickets? Like, which ones are you going to? No, you didn't?
Nope. No.
I'm going to tell Carla. I bet you she's going to get you guys tickets because she loves Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, she could go. She could just take one of her friends. She could take your wife. They could go together, and you and I can watch football.
Well, Ed Sheeran has a big tour coming up. The problem is, Jeff, a lot of the venues, a lot of the cities that the big Ed Sheeran tour will be stopping in also have NFL teams who have home games the same weekend. Here's the teams and here's the weeks that the Ed Sheeran concert tour is going to mess up. And none of them are on the West Coast, so that's a good thing. None of them are close to us. Week 1, the Detroit Lions. Week 2, the New England Patriots. Week 3, the Giants and the Jets because they share the same stadium. Week 5, the Titans. Week 6, the Chiefs. Week 7, the Minnesota Vikings. Week 8, the Cowboys of Dallas. And Week 10, the Atlanta Falcons. So all those teams in those weeks have a home game, but it looks like they're going to be taking a back seat to Ed Sheeran. It sounds like they're going to move either the location, so they'll have to play a road game. So, for example, let's say the Atlanta Falcons are playing the Rams. They would play in Los Angeles. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm just making that up. But they would play in Los Angeles. Or maybe they would move entirely to a different date. So Ed Sheeran, and he's pulling all the stops using his juice to force all these NFL teams to reschedule their schedule. That's messed up. I don't like your boy Ed Sheeran.
How the heck is this? How did this happen? I mean, how can you not figure it out if you're, in these venues?
And it's Ed Sheeran. Here's the thing: it's Ed Sheeran.
Well, unless Ed Sheeran is selling out these darn stadiums, which apparently he must be. Holy smokes! One guy is affecting the NFL this much. Somebody needs to go out and make Ed Sheeran move his tour somewhere else.
I bet you right now, Greg Holla, back in the studio, is blasting Ed Sheeran. Greg, make sure you're playing Jeff's favorite Ed Sheeran song. He'd really appreciate it because that's his guy. Remember, because once the King of Pop passed away, rest in peace, it was Ed Sheeran all the way for Jeff Gorham. So
I'd rather listen to Weird Al than Ed Sheeran, and I love Weird Al.
And real quick, another NFL note, the NFL catch rule. So the NFL got together and they changed the NFL catch rule. Jeff, I'm going to read it to you because the new NFL catch rule sounds a lot like the old NFL catch rule. Here it is. The catch rule will eliminate the requirement to maintain control of the ball throughout the process of going to the ground. Instead, it will define a catch with a simpler three-step process. Here's the three-step process. A receiver must have control of the ball. He must also establish himself in bounds and perform a football move such as taking a third step or lunging with the ball in his hand. Doesn't that sound like the old rule? Like, what am I missing here?
It sounds exactly like the old rule. I don't know why. Apparently, a bunch of people got in a room and said they were going to figure it out, but apparently they just rehashed the exact same rule.
Because I think it all goes back to having control of the football. So the first line in this was, the catch rule will eliminate the requirement to maintain control of the ball throughout the process of going to the ground. So if you've got the ball tucked away, but it's kind of moving around, inside your arm near the elbow. I guess that's okay now. I guess if I'm reading into it, I guess that's what they're implying, that it's okay now. That's going to be a catch as long as you're going to the ground and you maintain possession.
It sounds that way, but it just sounds hokey. Just catch the football. That's all we needed to know, and make it to be. Let the referees call it themselves like the old days. Just if it's a catch, it's a catch. Go to replay. Make sure it's a catch. And that's it. Because everybody's all over the board.
I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not worried about it. In fact, it's probably going to be more subjective more than ever. Like a referee's going to be like, well, you know what? It did look like he had possession while going to the ground. Maybe not complete possession, but that's a catch. So I don't know. We'll see how this pans out. But they did change the rule, and what does it exactly mean? I don't know. It looks and sounds a lot like the rule that they previously had. Okay, we're going to go from Jeff Gorham's favorite musical singer to his favorite basketball player in the world. We're going to talk about LiAngelo Ball when we come back on the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the Crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Every single weekday of your life, 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Jeff, no one has ever done this. Trailblazers, pioneers, a local show for the Inland Empire, weekdays during drive time, and we're it. And you're laying on the floor in your bedroom, and I am sitting on a balcony alone.
Yeah, that's
Are you there? Oh, there you are.
trailblazing.
I was like, oh, I think Jeff passed out on me.
Yeah, I am a trailblazer, and I'll tell you what, it's always nice when you can do the radio show from your floor of your bedroom, hiding from your children. Because if you open the door, it's like the bulls of Pamplona. They would be just trampled.
Oh, I'm just laughing at you. Just keep going. I'm just laughing at you, Jeff.
Yeah, they're just, my kids are. If I open the door, it's nuts. But I do hear silence, so maybe Smedberg took them for a walk.
Yeah, if you open that door, they're going to pile through like a bunch of raging bulls, and they're going to horn you and gourd you and throw you up in the air.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I pretty much ruled by my children.
We're brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled, quick quality oil change, Ken's Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass, and Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. So your boy LiAngelo Ball has declared for the NBA draft. Jeff, I wonder which NBA team is going to make a big trade and move up the draft board so they can get Jello Ball, the middle ball, on their team.
I don't know who the heck is going to draft this guy, but his agent is, Harrison Gaines. He played at UC Riverside.
Yeah.
He's a local guy. But LiAngelo Ball should really honestly think about staying and playing professionally in Lithuania. Today he goes out and scores. I think he had 72 points in a game
today. He's ready for the NBA. He could start right now in the NBA.
No, he can't. In fact, my biggest concern now is, and I don't know if it's so much a concern, is that his dad, Larry, or LeVar, is that his name, LeVar?
LeVar, but we call him Larry. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Larry said that if the Lakers don't sign all three boys, that he was going to make sure that Lonzo took off and left the Lakers. Well, here's the ultimatum here coming up.
Yeah,
do the Lakers sign him as a free agent, or do they draft him?
That's exactly where I wanted to take this conversation, Jeff, because excuse me, all the pressure now is on the Lakers. If you call that pressure, I mean, do they really want Lonzo Ball for forever? But all the pressure now is, will the Lakers take LiAngelo Ball, which they won't, but will they maybe sign him and maybe put him on like the summer league team, something like that, to see what he's about and put him against some real competition, because what he's playing in Lithuania, he dropped 72, basically on the equivalent of like a high school JV team here in the United States. I mean, is that probably comparable to what we're talking about?
I think it would be comparable to playing a soccer team. Because when you're scoring 72 points on anybody, you're not playing against anything and anybody, because he couldn't have started at UCLA. And I'm going to throw this out there. If anybody's listening, he wouldn't have played a minute at UCLA. He might have played spot. I like to call it, when I coach, a 40-40 guy. Up 40, down 40, that guy gets in the ball game. He was nothing but a 40-40 guy. He can't rebound. He can shoot a little bit, but he can't guard defenders because he's not very quick on his feet. Maybe he's improved. Maybe I'm wrong, but I saw him play in high school. He averaged 35 points a game, whatever it was. But how can you average 35 points and 1 rebound per game? Yes, 1 rebound per game. The guy is I don't even know if he would be a Big West superstar. He would play on a Big West team, but he's not an NBA player. And whomever is saying that he is, they really vastly have overestimated this guy, and he's not ever going to see time in the NBA.
And we had heard from other people that getting Lonzo Ball to UCLA, I know the Bruins probably really wanted the youngest Ball as well, LaMelo Ball, and that LiAngelo Ball was probably just part of the deal. Like, hey, you know what? We'll make sure Lonzo goes to UCLA, and when LaMelo's a senior, we'll make sure he signs with UCLA too. But you've got to take the middle ball too. You got to want that middle ball, Jello ball at UCLA too. You know what I mean? It was almost like a package deal. You got to have that middle ball with you.
Yeah, it's silly. And here's what I'm going to put it even more in perspective for you, Pep. What did Chino Hills just do last weekend?
Oh, yeah. This is a great point, Jeff. Go for it.
Chino Hills won their second state championship in 3 years. 2 years ago, if you recall, or 3 years ago, Lonzo Ball was playing at Chino Hills, and all three brothers were playing together. They did win a state championship that season. But last year, you had LaMelo and Leandro playing on the same team, and they didn't win the state championship. You subtract by addition here, and now what happens? They go out without LaMelo, without Leandro, and they win a state championship. So how good are the Ball brothers in actuality? Because they seem to win without those guys, and they won more convincingly this time than they did the previous time winning the state championship.
Oh, Twitter was having a heyday, Jeff, when Chino Hills won the state title because, again, they were pointing a lot of people were pointing their fingers to the fact that, Chino Hills, they're going to go under. They needed the Ball brothers. They're nothing without the Ball brothers and this and that. So all those haters, all those old Twitter posts, they all came back to life, man. Like 6 feet under, like digging themselves out of the grave. They all came back to life, and they were all over social media when Chino Hills won that. I think it's really cool. It shows that this is a high school basketball program that is more than just a family. It's more than just that window, that 2 or 3 year window when the Ball brothers were there. I mean, this is a program that's going to be around for a while. And I know, wasn't there a guy named Andre Ball there? He had no relation. I don't think he's with the other Ball family, but there was another guy named Andre Ball, I believe, that plays for Chino Hills, who was like their star player this season. But
I will say this: he is related.
Oh, he is?
I believe he's their cousin. I think he's their first cousin, but he wasn't. You don't hear much of him within the Ball family. You don't hear about the Big Baller Brand and the cousin Ball, who really was a big part of that run to go into the state championship this year.
Andre Ball, so he is part of the family. I did not know that.
Yeah, he is. I'm sad to say because I've seen the kid play. Very, very talented. Very much a team player. He's not going out and trying to put up 45, 50 shots a game. As LeVar Ball, think of the coaching staff. How many coaches has Chino Hills had in 3 years? They've had 3 different coaches in 3 years, and all 3 of those coaches have been affected by the Ball family. So the first coach wins the state title and leaves because he couldn't deal with the father. The second doesn't win, and it's all his fault, so he gets run out of town. Then they bring in this third coach, and he said, hey, LaMelo's not going to put up 45, 50 shots a game. So the Ball family bolts for Lithuania because he wasn't going to get his shots. The coach stood his ground, and what happens? They win a state championship.
Well, now that LiAngelo Ball has officially declared for the NBA draft today, I don't think there's any way that the Lakers select him. No possible. Do they sign him and bring him into like a summer league situation where they'll probably likely cut him anyways? I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility, but I don't even want to say the pressure's on the Lakers because what pressure? What's the worst case scenario? LeVar Ball gets fed up with the Lakers in a couple of years and tells Lonzo to move on. Maybe Lonzo by then will stand up to his dad and say, no, man, this is my dream. I want to play for the Lakers. But he hasn't said that. He hasn't had the Lakers back. He hasn't had Luke Walton's back. I think to him it's all going back to the bloodline, whatever his dad wants, that's where he's going to follow suit. So again, LeVar Ball saying that he wants all 3 of his sons on the Lakers, and if the Lakers won't bring in the middle ball, then that middle ball is going to leave. Lonzo Ball is going to leave when his contract's up, and they're all going to go to the same NBA team. It sounds delusional to me, Jeff, but that's what LeVar Ball believes.
Well, it's definitely delusional, and unless the NBA takes a big dive, and players are horrible. There is no way in heck that LiAngelo Ball will ever play in the purple and gold, and I don't think he ever plays anywhere in the NBA unless somebody is dumb enough to say, hey, look, we're going to sign a ball brother to fill seats. But I don't see that happening. I don't see Phoenix doing it. I don't see Memphis doing it.
Don't you say Sacramento. Don't you dare say it.
No, I left them out because, you know what? Even Sacramento wouldn't take one of the balls.
We're better than that.
You are.
When we come back, we will circle back around to the NBA. We'll talk a little Lakers and what's up with Isaiah Thomas. Have we seen Isaiah Thomas for the last time in a Lakers uniform? We'll talk about that when we come back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Oh, yeah.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility.
got it.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday. We got March Madness coming down to the Final Four, Major League Baseball getting set to open up, and the NBA season, Jeff, coming down the home stretch here. Now, the Lakers, they're not going to make the playoffs. I hate to break the bad news to you. They were just mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, but they did make considerable strides in the right direction, and they did that for the most part without Isaiah Thomas. And Isaiah Thomas, he was, I guess they're saying that he was excused. I want to make sure I'm using the proper terminology here, that the Lakers excused him from the team so he could evaluate his treatment options for his sore hip. Now, Jeff, there's only a handful of games left in the season. Have we seen Isaiah Thomas in the purple and gold for the last time? Because it looks like he's not coming back.
Yeah, I believe that the Isaiah Thomas experiment. I don't really think it was an experiment. I think it was just a way to alleviate some money off the books for the Lakers to sign those two big free agent contracts, those max deals that the Lakers can sign here in the offseason. But I do think it's, I like Isaiah Thomas. I liked him when he was with Washington, playing at the University of Washington. I like him. I loved him as a, and I'm not a Boston Celtic fan, but I loved watching him play. But there is something that is off, and that hip seems to have not healed. It's been 8 months. He's had no surgery. It's not healing right. So this could be the end of Isaiah Thomas. It will be for a Laker, but it could be an end for a while until we see him again in the NBA.
Yeah, so it looks like I don't think no one really thought that Isaiah Thomas would be in the Lakers' plans for good going forward. But now that he's been excused from the team to find out what in the world is going on with his hip, he's likely done for this year. And he's going to be likely done in his brief Lakers career as he came over in that trade. It says, let's see, the team told reporters in Detroit where they played on Monday night that the Lakers excused him and that Thomas would be flying back to New York to evaluate his options for his hip. So for him, knowing that he's likely not coming back to the Lakers, he still has to make a business decision here. He's got to get that hip healed up because he wants to catch on with another NBA team. He's still young enough, but it might be one of those situations where, and we see this a lot in the NFL, that the body just simply does not hold up. He's young enough. He's got the desire. He's a great leader. He's a great scorer. It's just his body is failing him right now. And that sore hip, like you said, man, it's been months and months and months, and it's still just not right.
Yeah, it's been 8 months. He elected not to have surgery in the off season. Think about this, and this is really how far he has fallen in just that short amount of time, that 8 months. He was probably going to command somewhere in the 9 figures range, and now he's going to be he's a free agent. I feel bad for him because what's he going to command? He's not going to command that big contract. It's going to be a small contract, probably for a very, very minimum deal. He's going to be a steal for somebody if he can get that hip right, but he's not going to make near the amount of money that he was going to command last year because they were talking max deals for him before he got hurt.
Oh, he was a hot commodity. I mean, Boston loved that guy. He single-handedly got them into the postseason and deep into the playoffs. I mean, he was beloved by those Boston fans, and for being one of the smallest guys on the court, he kept coming up with huge play after huge play. But yeah, I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot, and it seems like it's really cooled off now for IT, who, a year ago was one of the biggest names in the NBA. In fact, Jeff, they were talking about him in the MVP conversation for the NBA. That's how much he meant to the Celtics, and now he's nowhere near close to that form, and I think it's simply because his body's not holding up. It's not like he's dropped off because he's still a relatively young guy. I think his hip, whatever's going on with it, like you said, has not fully healed, or whatever injury he had, he re-aggravated it, because right now they're just calling it a quote sore hip.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say that he's probably going to have surgery because, you know, he went an entire season here and it just didn't heal right. And he elected not to have surgery in the off season. I think if he's going to continue to play in the NBA and be somewhat of a relevant player, he's going to have to get that surgery and get that hip fixed.
Yeah, so Isaiah Thomas, he's going to be out for the foreseeable future, likely the season, likely his career as a Laker because, I mean, Jeff, the Lakers are going young. It's no secret. The writing is on the wall. They're going young. They're going to see what they've got with this young nucleus of, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram. Those are two of the centerpieces. Kyle Kuzma, of course, who burst onto the scene out of the University of Utah. The one that I'm kind of scratching my head on is Julius Randle, because he's been playing his butt off. It's a contract year. I don't know if it's enough for the Lakers to give him a ton of money to keep him in Los Angeles when they could go out and get another known commodity out there. But he's really had a great, fantastic season. And of all the Lakers, he might be their team MVP this year, Julius Randle. He's really played well. And I think it's because, again, it's a contract year. He's out there chasing money right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, Julius Randle has been a pleasant surprise. I mean, coming into this season, he was kind of a disappointment. You know, people compared him to a left-handed version of the mailman coming out of college. Well, he hasn't been that. But this year, for some reason, maybe it's a contract year, maybe he's figured it out. He's a very, very good player, but a lot of his future as a Laker hinges on what the other two guys, and we're talking Paul George and LeBron James, depends on what they decide to do is what the Lakers will decide on Julius Randle. If they don't sign those two guys, you're going to have to sign somebody to fill that, one of those two guys' spot. And I'll tell you what, he's kind of earned that spot to be the Lakers' go-to guy. But if it's at the cost of Paul George and a LeBron James, I think we're going to see the last of Julius Randle in a Lakers uniform.
Yeah, I mean, between he and I think he would be the team MVP. I know Kuzma has put some nice numbers up as a rookie, but team MVP, I would probably go Julius Randle right now. And again, it's a contract year. Kind of like a situation, remember Harrison Barnes? He had a really good year for Golden State. He turned that into a huge contract with the Dallas Mavericks. So if anything, Julius Randle, I don't know if he even wants to come back to the Lakers. He's going to get a payday somewhere. The way that he was able to play this year, the way he was able to finish this year, so many times, he's pulling up double-doubles and going over 20 points, and he's looked really good for the Lakers. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we'll talk more Major League Baseball. The opening day rosters are being filled out for Major League Baseball teams, and we're going to update you on some Inland Empire guys trying to make it to the big leagues right there on the fringe, trying to hang on with a Major League Baseball team. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. Enjoy this Boost training tip.
How you guys doing? Coach Ray here from Boost Training. We're here today at the Boost Performance Center with the one and only Pep Fernandez. Today's Boost Training tip, we're going to get football specific with the 40-yard dash stance. Come check it out. Okay, so first things first, we're going to establish Andrew's footing. All right, now, he has his left foot up in his 40 stance, so what we're going to do is he's going to take his left foot, his left toe, and he's going to bring it back to his right heel. All right, now he's going to take his right toe and bring it to his left heel. All right, next he's going to take that right foot, he's going to bring it about hip width. Now, depending on if you're a skilled player, receiver, DB, or if you're a lineman, a bigger guy like Andrew is here, you may want to go a little bit wider, all right, because they usually have bigger thighs here. So he's going to go a little bit wider hip width. Now he's going to take that right toe, he's going to move it back about 4 to 6 inches. Perfect, perfect. Okay, now he's going to take his right hand, he's going to place it right behind the line. He's going to take his left hand and place it right above the line. All right, now he's going to dig his feet in, get his footing. We want to really load the hips, knees, and ankles here. And what we're looking for is a deep bend in the ankles and a nice angle with the shins here. We want to try to keep that shin nice, almost parallel to the floor. So what's going to happen, he's going to keep his nose to his knee. He's going to stay nice and low. When I say set, Andrew's going to bring that left arm higher than his hip. He's going to slightly elevate his hips higher than his knees. Now, you never want to hold your 40 stance any longer than about 3 seconds. So it's going to be very quick, all right? Here we go. Set. Go. 40-yard dash stance.
focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM every single day from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on the old flagship on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. Jeff is in Menifee. I'm in Orange County. The show must go on back in the Inland Empire. We love doing it every day, so we will never take a day off, Jeff. You got that? Every single day we're going to do it for the people of the IE, all the fine folks who work so hard every day in the 909 and the 951. We got to rise to the occasion. We got to bring energy, and we got to bring them all the sporting news they can handle and some fun along the way.
Yeah, I love your gumption.
Mm-hmm.
I love your tenacity.
Yes.
But, there's going to be a day where I'm going to miss.
There is?
Someday. It'll be on my deathbed. That'll be the only time I'll miss. Because we are here every single darn day from 3 to 6.
Every single day doing it for the people of the IE. So I'm out here. I'm watching the golf course, watching all these golfers scream and yell. I have heard some screaming and yelling, so I'm assuming all these guys are hitting shots that are going deep into these woods here. And then I'm also looking out at the beach. I see all these boats cruising around, all these cruisers with a bunch of tourists. So, Jeff, I'm sitting on this patio right now, and I was eating a little popcorn. That's why I'm clearing my throat over here. I've also got one of my brand new beanies on. In fact, I'm going to punch up the camera shot that has me here on the balcony in case you're watching us live and amplified right now on the channel. It's my brand because I'm kind of a beanie guy. Have you noticed I like beanies?
Yeah, would you like to, does it have a ball on the top like your Sacramento Kings?
No, that's
beanie?
my special Sacramento Kings ball beanie. I only bring out that ball beanie on special occasions. I love that beanie. It has Sacramento Kings all over it. I wear it proudly. People give me high fives in the streets when I wear that. But no, this is another beanie because it's kind of cold here on the coast when the sun starts starting to set. There's a little bit of breeze in the air. So I got this new beanie. I had to import it. Actually, my in-laws did. It's imported from Liechtenstein. You ever heard of Liechtenstein?
Yes, I have. I've been to Liechtenstein.
Did you play pro basketball in Liechtenstein? Don't say you did. Did you?
No. I have traveled. On my tours. When I was overseas, I would generally, like when I was in New Zealand, I would tour New Zealand. I would rent a Winnebago, and I would drive around the entire country, North and South Island. And then when I was in Europe, I would take train rides everywhere. And I have been all over. I have tramped all over Europe by train and by car, and I have been to Liechtenstein.
Well, my in-laws went there not too long ago. They went to Europe, and like you, they made their way to Liechtenstein, and they brought me back this sweet beanie that has a crown on it. And they said that's the official crown of the Prince of Liechtenstein. So I feel kind of like royalty over here on the balcony in my flip-flops and my Liechtenstein beanie, breaking down sports here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE.
Yeah, you're the king of you were the king of Bakersfield, and which is similar to the size of Liechtenstein. I can't even say it again. Go ahead.
I think it's Liechtenstein, isn't it?
Liechtenstein, yes.
I may have it all wrong, but it is kind of cold out here, and I'm like, you know what? I think I packed a beanie, and I went in there, and there it was, my big crown on top, feeling like royalty out here, eating my popcorn and yelling at the golfers in my Liechtenstein beanie here up for the Inland Sports Show. It's actually really warm. It's like really thick and warm. It keeps my head warm. So I got flip flops on, and I got shorts on, and I got a sweater on because, like I said, it's getting cold, man. That marine layer's coming in on me. I see it charging at me like the bulls of Pamplona, like your boys at home. It's coming for me. So I got the Liechtenstein beanie on so I can finish. I mean, we've only got 20 minutes left in the show. I got to finish strong for the people of the IE. They've worked too hard all day long, slaving away to make ends meet for their family. The least I could do is put on my beanie and go strong for the next 17 or 18 minutes. That's the least I could do, Jeff.
You're darn right. I'm with you.
All right. Well,
you're in my bed.
Are you in bed?
I am sitting in bed with the computer next to me, looking out my window at my pool. I told you I got my whole pool deck redone. It's all I have the stamped concrete, and it's all stained. And apparently, we had ducks in my pool today because they saw, they see the water, and they're working on the pool, so the pool's kind of dirty looking. So I think they thought it was a pond, so they landed in my pool today.
Oh, so you had to clean that out, get out all that nonsense.
Oh, no, that's where I have a pool guy.
Rich Jeff is back.
Oh, I'm getting ready to pour my Dom Perignon, and I'm going to jump in my luxurious, my pool to die for. I have waterfalls. Do you have waterfalls in your pool at home, Jeff?
No, I don't even have a pool, Jeff.
You're just a poor peddler. I, of course, have a great pool. I have waterfalls. I have a long, big TV that I can sit and watch my games. I can watch my silent movies, my French movies. I can do it all in my backyard. You, my friend, do you have a plastic pool? One of those little tiny ones?
Yeah, I have one of the kiddie pools is what you call. I know you never bought one. Yeah.
No, I cannot hang out with you. You will never be at my house. I promise you that, my friend. Never.
Rich Jeff, ladies and gentlemen. What's your next big purchase, Rich Jeff? Because I know you have money to burn and you just spend money at will, whatever catches your eye in the moment. What's your next big purchase, Rich Jeff?
My next big purchase is going to be a brand new car. What kind of car do you say? Oh, it will not be a Bentley. No. It will not be a Porsche. No. I'm thinking Lamborghini because I feel somewhat Italian today. So tonight I'm going to use my pocket change. Yes, my pocket change to go buy my Lamborghini, and I'm going to hang out at my luxurious pool. In fact, I might drive my Lamborghini in my backyard because I am so rich and I have such large property here in Menifee, California. Yeah!
See, Jeff, that's the difference between you and I. When you feel Italian, you go out and you buy a brand new Lamborghini. When I'm feeling Italian, I go to Romano's and I get some pasta and a pizza. That's all I do.
But, that's okay. That really is okay for you guys.
Hey, we got to get to some Major League Baseball. I'm getting kind of cold out here, but I do have the beanie on. But we got to power on here. Opening day for Major League Baseball is coming up on Thursday. And again, we talked about this off the top of the show, that opening day is Thursday. Traditionally, it's been Monday with that one Sunday night game on the day before. But opening day is going to be Thursday. Games all over the place. The Halos on the road in Oakland. The Dodgers will be home for the Giants at Chavez Ravine. A couple local guys that we've been keeping an eye on here throughout spring training. One would be Trevor Oaks, Kansas City Royals pitcher. He has been assigned to AAA. He'll be starting there. I believe they're AAA affiliate for the Royals. I want to say it's Omaha. And so he'll start in the minors. Adam Hofackett, another guy for the Angels. We were hoping he was going to latch on here at the big league level so we could see him right down the road at the Big A. He's also been assigned to the minors. And here's another guy, Jeff, Ricky Nolasco, hashtag the Vato from Rialto. He was another guy trying to win a spot in that Kansas City Royals starting rotation. He has been released. He was at the Angels last year. Kind of got roughed up for the Halos last year. He had 15 losses for the Angels. He pitched in 2 spring training games for Kansas City this year, and he gave up 8 runs. He walked 3, and that was just in 3 2/3 innings of work. So he didn't get a lot of work this spring, but when he got out there, it was enough for Kansas City to say thanks, but no thanks. So Kansas City has released him, but Ricky Nolasco is a guy. He was an opening day starter. I believe he did for the Halos, and I believe he also did for the Minnesota Twins. So this is a guy who's still in his prime, and he could be a front-of-the-line starting rotation pitcher. Just, I guess, trying to find the right spot for him. But going back to Trevor Oaks and also Adam Hofackett, those are 2 young guys who, Jeff, they will be in the big leagues at some point. They were both assigned to the minors, but they will be in the big leagues at some point. I guarantee that.
Well, what's really cool about this is one of those 2 guys, or both of them, could be Cal Baptist's first major leaguers under Gary Adcock. And Gary Adcock had spent some time with us. He's a good friend of ours. And he says he expects to see both of those guys, and he's going to go out and watch them wherever they go, whenever they start. He said, I will be there to support them. And I do feel that this is the year for those guys to break through, and it could be Cal Baptist's first guys to play in the major leagues.
Yeah, and Adam Hoffackett being an Angels product, we had a chance to watch him go through the system, including pitching for the Inland Empire 66ers, proud affiliate of the Angels out there in the California League. So he's on the cusp. Trevor Oaks is on the cusp. Another guy like Caleb Dirks, who actually he was in the Dodgers organization with Trevor Oaks. Caleb Dirks was traded to the Atlanta Braves, so now he's in the Braves system. But Cal Baptist has several guys, all young guys, who are waiting to break through and make it to the major leagues. And it's not so much if they will, it's when they will. And they still have time on their side because they're all younger guys, so they will make it. But it is kind of like when we had the race with the other superpowers in the world, like Russia, when it was the space race trying to get to the moon first. That's it's kind of like what's going down at Cal Baptist right now. It's a race to see who's going to be the first Lancer to make it to the major leagues. And it looks like Trevor Oaks, who's a starting pitcher, Adam Hoffackett, who's a reliever, a bullpen guy. One of those guys, maybe Caleb Dirks, will be the first one to make it to the major leagues at some point this season. So I think there's a really good chance. And we'll probably get Gary Adcock on the show again real soon to not only talk about the CBU baseball season, but also, man, he takes a lot of pride, Jeff, in these guys who go on to these pro careers. And they're all doing big things coming out of Cal Baptist.
Well, they are. He runs a great program over there. We were lucky enough to kind of cover the Santiago Servite game earlier before we were hit with a torrential rainfall. But I'll tell you what, Coach Adcock, he sat down and he talked with you and I off the air and said, he's really hitting hard the area, the Inland Empire. There's so many guys that want to play Division I baseball, and they want to play for him because there are guys like Adam Hoffackett and Trevor Oaks that are going to get these shots to play in the major leagues. Why not follow in the footsteps? And he's got a good pipeline going. There's a lot of good young talent that is coming into CBU and possibly someday might make the major leagues.
All right, one more segment to go. We're going to wrap things up. We'll talk about the Inland Sports All-Star Classic and UCR baseball back in action tonight. We'll be back. One more segment to go. It's the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. So we're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car, whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. UC Riverside Baseball playing all on the road at Fresno State. I know it's finals around UCR right now, but the Highlanders going to work today against the Bulldogs. Final game before they enter Big West Conference play. So good luck out there to the Highlanders up the road at Fresno State. And Jeff, the Inland Sports All-Star Classic, El Clásico, number 4, coming at you April 7th, live from RCC, Boys All-Stars, Girls All-Stars. They're calling it the All-Star Games of the New Millennium. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, in fact, we have the rosters, and we are going to. I am reaching out tomorrow to the girls rosters, and we will post those tomorrow, and then I will reach out to the guys, and we will have them the following day. So for the next 2 days, we will be unwrapping these rosters for the biggest game in the world.
So I know the the Inland Empire All-Star Classic for football is known as the biggest game in history. We'll take second biggest game in history, I guess, for the Inland Sports All-Star Basketball Classic. April 7th, again at RCC. Girls game and boys game back-to-back, all on the same night. It does not get any better than that. Jeff, are you fired up about it?
I'm always fired up. It's always nice to see the guys and gals. They're just like in the football game, is they get to finish their high school career, in Riverside among all of their friends against the best players in the area, just to end it on their terms before they either go to play college or before they hang up the jerseys forever. It's always a nice way to end the season. It's kind of the yearbook of the basketball season, and Riverside had a great year this year.
That's right. We're going to celebrate it April 7th at the All-Star Game at RCC. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices at Spoiled. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all of your sporting gear needs and Letterman's jackets. That's KensSportingGoods.com. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Make sure you ask for him by name. Follow Boost on Instagram and Twitter. That's BoostTrainingSystems.com. And Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road, where you can buy, trade, and finance. Make that car shopping experience so easy. We'll see you again tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here on Fox Sports IE for another edition of the Inland Sports Show. For Greg Holla back in the studio and Jeff Gorham, I'm Pep Fernandez. See you tomorrow, 3 p.m., right here on the flagship Fox Sports IE.